Mike, a 3-0 defeat at home today, back in league action, what's your reflection?
That's definitely the worst we've played since I've come back to the club, Bailey. I feel like we got out of jail to be 0-0 in the first half from our quality of performance in the first half, and I back these lads every week, and I just think that was by far the worst we've played. And we get in at half time and we try and get some really good direct quality information into them about what needs to change, and it's probably the first time I've really raised my voice in the changing room, and I had to do it this season, but feel like the information was good. And then we've gone out in the second half and been even worse. It's tough to defend that because it's not relative to the way that we've asked the boys to play, and the way that we'd been accustomed to at the beginning of this season. So some things need to change, whether it's the approach that we take to our capabilities and the way that we want to play the game. Or some of the boys as well have to take a bit more responsibility on what we're expecting of them and the way we want them to play the game. But there was a real distinct lack of desire, which upsets me because it's not the way I want the game to be played. But then you couple that with a real lack of quality. We were unbelievably poor on the ball tonight, really poor on the ball, which again, hasn't really been like us. Even in defeat last week, I thought we were good on the ball and we created chances, and it felt very, Silsden-like at 1-0. I thought, it's going to be really tough to break down now because the team's come here on a Tuesday night with something to defend, and we've given them something to defend because they've scored 3 goals here and they haven't really had to do an awful lot to score them 3 goals, and that's what's really disappointing. I'll have to see the third one back because I didn't really see how it developed, but the first 2 is basics. It's basic errors that have cost us, and it comes from when we talk about basics, it's the absolute minimum requirements of working harder than a team, running harder than your opposition, winning your individual duels, and it's very difficult to pick out across the pitch today where we've done that. And I've been really supportive of the boys in their quality times. I've also got to be detrimental when it hadn't gone to plan tonight, and nothing went to plan tonight. It was by far the worst we've played since I come back to the club 10 months ago.
How do you pick the lads' heads up for Saturday?
Well, I think we need to get back to basics, and we need to get on the training pitch on Thursday and right some of the wrongs in relation to our shape and the way that we've made it an awful lot too easy for Garforth to walk through the middle of us, to be honest, tonight, and we haven't seen that, so we need to rally around what that looks like, make sure that the information's correct, because I believe today we've given the boys really good information about the way we want to do things, and it's still, the quality wasn't there, and the desire to go out and do that wasn't there. So we need to nip that in the bud really quickly. I thought last week was a week in football, of very tough fixtures and a team in the trophy from a league above, and all of what was probably not great out of those games as coupled over to tonight, and we need to nip that in the bud quick because I hope it's our blip, and if it is our blip, brilliant, but we need to be an awful lot better than that to be competitive and be at the area within the league table that we think we're capable of being. It's going to take more than that tonight, an awful lot more than that.
Ben Farrar and Jack Whiting were missing from today. Any injury concerns from there?
Ben was a hangover of the FA Youth Cup game. We weren't allowed to play him on the Tuesday last week because he had the FA Youth Cup game that week. He got a knock in that, and that's why he hasn't been available Saturday and Tuesday. I'd really hope we've got him available on Saturday because we need him back in the squad. We've missed him when he's not been here. Jack was just not selected for the 16 today, so he's been here as we'd expect, but we've got options, and that's why it's also frustrating, because we've gone with a certain degree of opportunity for certain boys tonight, and some of them aren't taking it. Some of them aren't taking it.
Thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, Billy.